Dante's Divine Comedy, Inferno, Canto the 12th. As they're going along, they run into the Minotaur. The Minotaur, he's a little bit more like Cerberus. He's somewhat more intelligent, but he's not going to be stopped because you name drop God. He's just probably going to kill you anyways. So Virgil insults him. He basically says, "We just come here to laugh at you."
So this is the Minotaur from Greek mythology, right? Like the classic style Minotaur.
The Minotaur gets really angry, and Virgil basically says, "All right, I've made him super angry. Quick, go run and hide before he sees us." So they go around and they hide behind a rock. He points to the left and shows Dante down the valley a ways. He sees this giant river of boiling hot blood. And he can see standing within it are people. So some of them are like up to their knees, some of them are up to their necks, all depending on where in the river they're standing. They see a giant herd of centaurs galloping along the coast. All of them have bows and arrows. The centaurs see them and they veer off to come up to Virgil and Dante. One of them asks who they are and says, "If you don't answer me, I'm going to shoot you." I should mention, I love these centaurs. They are like Chads within hell. They're very cool. I picture them kind of like the Manitors from Gravity Falls, but obviously centaurs instead.
I'm picturing one with the torso of Terry Crews and another with the torso of one of the Hemsworth brothers, for sure.
Virgil isn't intimidated by them, and he says, "I'm not going to talk to you. You're going to go get Chiron for me." Chiron's a name you might recognize.
Yes.
Famous centaur. The centaur that they've been talking to is named Nessus.
I just find it bizarre how much he seems to like mixing mythology with Judeo-Christian theology and stuff too. And then I find it weird how he'll combine all of that with historical figures.
The motivation, I think I understand. And
Right,
it's that, like,
yeah.
everyone's heard the story of Hercules. When you, like, say Hercules or you say Nessus, you're like, "Oh, yeah, I know the story of Nessus. Now I understand a little bit better what this layer of hell is about, because I know who Nessus is." Imagine if you wrote Divine Comedy in modern day, and then you were walking through hell and you ran upon, like, Thanos, for example.
Right, yeah. This is the layer of the hell where the Joker is.
Right.
Yeah.
I think.
And Darth Vader's in there. You know, it's
like imagine Darth Vader. The people in the River of Blood have to stand at a certain point based on how bad their sin was. And the sin here, by the way, is the sin of violence against others. And so what the centaurs do is they go around and they look for anyone who's too high up. So if you're supposed to be up to your shoulders, for example, and you've stepped a bit to the side so that the blood is a little bit lower than it should be, they shoot you full of arrows until you go back to where you're supposed to go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that sounds pretty awful, not gonna lie.
Chiron comes forward eventually, and the first thing he says isn't to Virgil and Dante. He says, "Have you noticed how the one who walks behind moves what he touches?" Which I love because, first of all, it establishes that Chiron is very wise. He notices something very subtle. It also is really cool because it establishes that souls are more ethereal. Even here in hell, they don't move things when they touch them. Virgil requests that Chiron send a centaur with them to guide them and protect them from anything that might hurt them on the way through. Chiron thinks about it and he assigns Nessus to go with them. As they're walking along the river, Nessus points out some of the people here. Alexander is here.
Alexander the Great?
Alexander the Great. As they keep going, the river is becoming shallower. So before they were next to people who were like up to their necks, now they're up to people up to their chests, and then up to their waists, and eventually up to their knees. Eventually they reach the point of the river where people are only up to their ankles in this blood. It's still a terrible place to be. Again, this blood is like boiling hot.
Yeah, that would still be painful.
But it's just their feet. Nessus points out that you see the people here, they're only up to their feet. I'll have you know that back all the way at the other end where you saw people up to their necks, there are people past them who are completely submerged. They've been so violent in life that they are completely submerged in the boiling blood. He mentions a few people. The one you'll probably recognize is Attila.
Ah, Attila the Hun.
My personal theory is that this is also the exact place in hell where Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin are. They're not listed here, probably because this book was written before them. I think if this book was written after them, those people would also be here.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's the end of Canto the 12th.